What is up, folks? Thank you so much for tuning in. We are live, LA Taco Live with Laura, which is Lil O Me. And I'm super excited to be here with you for the second episode. If you tuned in last week, we love you. If you didn't, you're fake. Just kidding. Keep coming back. If you don't know what LA Taco is, we are a small independent newsroom, a small team that's putting together the best of Los Angeles stories. And at this show, every week on Thursdays, we're going to be making those stories come alive. We're talking about LA lifestyle, news, politics, and of course, tacos, right? We're called LA Taco. So I am Laura, your host. We love all the great feedback we've gotten from folks, and we're just trying to make it better and bigger and greater. And today we have the dopest lineup of guests, and of course, the LA Taco team by my side, breaking down some great stories in Los Angeles. Now, for today's episode, we're going to go ahead and start off with some segments of things happening all over California and Los Angeles. To start off, y'all, ding, ding, ding. You're hearing the ice cream truck come around, but instead of ice cream, it is cannabis, weed, marijuana. There is going to be a delivery truck through the Memo company who's going to be coming to your hood. I know a lot of folks during the pandemic didn't want to go out, right? We're staying quarantined, and there's all this influx of delivery services for weed that we're seeing coming in. But Memo said, no. You don't have to Uber it. Yo, we'll bring the truck to you. This truck is gonna be holding $3,000 worth of weed to deliver to different areas and neighborhoods and communities. Some of y'all might be excited. And listen, the first thing that I thought of is, are these fools going to have a secret service? Is there going to be a van following the weed van? Because that is terrifying. I'm not an avid weed smoker myself, but when I go to the dispensary, when I've gone to just check things out, I'm terrified about the amount of guns they already have, right? Protecting the space, making sure no one sketchy comes through. I feel like I'm doing a drug bust myself. So I'm just curious to know what this truck is going to look like. But for those of you who like to engage in the marijuana, look out for the Memo delivery truck. They'll be in a city near you, probably. So next up, I don't know if y'all are watching Gentefied on Netflix. If you aren't, get on it. They are on season 2. And one of the writers, Linda Yvette Chavez, who, shout out to you, girl, never met you, but we'd love to have you on the show, actually just signed a huge deal with 20th Television, a company under Disney. And what she's going to be doing is providing more dope shows like Gentefied. I'm from East Los, grew up around City Terrace, and the restaurant that they filmed the show at is actually right down the street from the house that I grew up in, that my parents still live in. And I think that's so beautiful. And I just want to say a big congratulations to you, girl, for signing this deal. And I'm so excited. Hire me. I'm so excited to see the amount of shows you put out, the stories you continue to tell from Black, Indigenous, people of color. We need that, and we need you. And just big felicidades. I hope to meet you soon and to have you on the show. Now, we're going to go ahead and switch it to another headline, which is near and dear to my heart because it's about California college students. We're reading through different headlines that there are so many students who are experiencing houselessness, who are risking losing secure housing, and who are thinking that their universities, if they're in higher education, are going to provide them with housing and are finding out that they're not, right? We're slowly transitioning from that virtual life into back to campus, back to school, back to in person. And a lot of these institutions are scrambling, trying to figure out how to provide housing for these students because they've set aside beds for folks that have to quarantine, because they haven't been looking over a lot of these housing spaces. And now they're infested with rodents, and it's sounding like there's pipe problems and plumbing issues. It's a whole ass nightmare up in here for college students. I just want to give them a shout out to anybody, to all of y'all out there that are hustlers in the classroom and who are at the risk of losing secure housing. We're showing you love, and we hope that these universities come up with solutions quickly. We know that Long Beach City College actually recently opened up a parking lot for students that are actually living out of their cars, for them to securely sleep in their cars at night. And I think they're providing resources like toilets and spaces for the students to shower. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, because there should be more solutions. Institutions do have money. And so I'm just hoping that something happens, because students are out here trying to earn these degrees, and the last thing they need is to worry about the roof over their head. So I'm just giving y'all a big abrazo. Lord knows I love all the students that I work with. So I'm sending you a lot of love, and I'm hoping something is figured out, because y'all paying tuition and you're using that money. You should have housing, and there needs to be something that is done. For my final headline, I have to bring it up. Hit me, baby, one more time. Wow, Britney Spears is free. Can we believe it? From a 13-year conservatorship that her father had her tied to. Under. Wow. If you are her fan on IG, I am. She stays posting beautiful videos of her dancing with her fiance and her beautiful home. But she recently shared, that since she was freed from the conservatorship, she finally got the opportunity to see money, to hold money and an ATM card. How problematic is that? Can we talk about the way money has changed? Oh, girl probably don't even know what a $20 bill looked like until she was freed, right? 13 years of not having access to her own money, her ATM card. She shared about how she finally was able to buy candles. And if you fuck with me, you know I am at TJ Maxx at least 3 Saturdays of the month, aka every week, sniffing all the candles and finding joy in what that brings, right? So it's just so wild to see that she's returning into like a sense of normalcy because of the conservatorship that her father had her under. And that made me think a lot about, if you haven't seen this movie on Netflix called I Care a Lot, this happens to a lot of people. We're going to see a clip of what Britney's talking about in the power of movements and who she wants to help out.
I'm not here to be a victim. I lived with victims my whole life as a child. That's why I got out of my house, and I worked for 20 years and worked my ass off. I'm here to be an advocate for people with real disabilities and real illnesses.
So she's just talking about how she thanks her mega fans. She thanks the people that got together to support her in releasing her of this conservatorship. And I really love that she shouted out that she wants to take a step in towards supporting other communities that are suffering, that are differently abled and suffering from the abuse at the hands of folks who are guardians and folks who have conservatorships over them, right? The movie that I mentioned before is called I Care a Lot. It's wild. It is fiction. There is like an exciting story plot that's crazy. But essentially, this happens to a lot of folks who are elderly or folks who are differently abled. People come into power of managing every single aspect of their life and really take over and put them in either a senior living homes or different homes where they're not necessarily supported, and pretty much strip them and rob them silly of their money. And this is happening, so I'm happy. It sucks that it's at the expense of Britney Spears' situation, but she is a celebrity, right? And she is free from the conservatorship. So we're hoping that she takes a step. Britney, girl, step it up, baby. You free now. Who else you gonna help? We not free until we all free. But I hope she really takes some steps into supporting those communities too, because it's happening so much, and it wasn't until a celebrity experienced it that more folks are learning about it, right? So I hope she does something with that platform. Free Britney. I hope Palestine is next. Just kidding. I saw that on a meme. I just want to point out that the power of movements is powerful. So now I'm going to be joined by my girl Sam, who's going to break it down with some LA taco headlines, some dope stories that we put out this week. What up, girl?
Hello. We got 2 big stories that are from the Trompo this week. So first is the Big Quit, or people are calling it the Great Resignation. So it's coming in, we're seeing it a lot in the second year of the pandemic. So first year, everyone's concerned, like, I need to keep my job security. I need to put like food on the table. And now we're seeing people are kind of shifting from that mentality and away from, I need to keep this job, which is insane.
It's wild to know the amount of folks that I know that have left their jobs, to know that it's an option right now, or that a lot of people are doing it. You're not alone if you want to leave your job, right? I know that there's a professor that actually predicted this. Given the pandemic, given that we knew, we didn't really know what we were experiencing. I was washing my goddamn fruit in 2020 and learned that I didn't have to, right? So all of us were kind of scrambling to figure out what the fuck to do. But there was a professor who predicted this, and he said that there's 4 major reasons why this happened, right?
Yeah, so there's the 4 major reasons. So the first is burnout. So a lot of people in year 2 are just over it, like the demands of going into work or not going into work. You know, people are feeling that they need freedom. There's like this fundamental need for freedom and what people, how people are working in their situation. Mm-hmm. So it's that human need. And with that, it comes with this whole idea of a pandemic epiphany. Like, you're in the pandemic, we're in year 2, and now it's like, what am I doing with my life? Do I need this job? Is this what I want to be working in? And the final thing is actually the age range of when people are starting to work, and they're starting to work younger. And we're actually seeing, people from the ages of 16 to 19 are now the bulk of the upcoming workforce. And with that, this professor said that people are quitting because people are shifting jobs so quickly that it's, in the article that was on the site, they're talking about like this teacher quit her job and became a florist. And it's, where is your money coming from? And is all money good money? So that's what we're seeing in this whole I don't want to say recession because it's not a recession.
The
but
resignation, baby.
Resignation.
Yes.
It is the Great Resignation. So that's happening there. And another story on the Trompo is that a woman in Whittier was busted for selling fake COVID vaccination cards.
I am shooketh that she was shipping them in from China herself, and she got caught up because folks saw the packages coming in, right?
Yes. So
wow.
Her packages were intercepted, and the police did arrest her this past Friday. So, I mean, for people who are looking for like scapegoats, a way to work around the vaccine, do not look for these sorts of alternatives. This is not the way to go. Selling counterfeit COVID cards is not the right way to go about this. If you don't have it, don't look for illegal alternatives. It's not worth it ever. But that's what we have going on in the Trompo this week.
That's wild. And I want to go back to the Great Resignation. It's beautiful that you're saying that this school teacher quit her job to become a florist.
Yes.
I think that this Great Resignation is so beautiful because people are finding things that spark joy. It is scary, right? I think when we think about different generations, we think about folks who stayed in their positions for 40, 50, 60 years, depending on when they retired. It's wild to me to even think being in the same place. I can't even decide what I want to, I can't make decisions that have that type of longevity. But I think it's beautiful that this article highlighted that folks are doing things to spark joy, though it still is a challenge. I think having this happen is really having companies and corporations and workspaces re-envision what it is to keep employees too.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I'm not going to, no, like, I need to use the restroom. I need more than 2 10-minute breaks. I need 3. I need them to be cut up, right? I feel like in the labor world, it's kind of like I have to follow the rules. I have to bend to authority. And now we're saying no, right? Now we prioritize self-care. Now we're seeing a lot of folks really challenge these workplaces that essentially do some fucked up shit. I think it's shedding a lot of light on the ways that companies really mistreat their employees in so many different settings. I think we're seeing educators, right, and how they had to kind of shift to virtual life. A lot of us had to shift, right? But folks are being so mistreated. And I just think that that article really touched me because it just showed me that it's possible. It's scary. But I'm inspired by the folks that are sparking joy. So I'm here for it.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, Sam. So we're going to go ahead and take it to our first commercial break, and we're about to bring on our first guest. ¿Y a ti, Aresby, te gusta bailar?
Sí, ¿vamos a bailar o qué? Que suene machina el artista, compa David. Somos muchachos de Dina. Que suene machina el vago, viejo.
We are here with Mariscos El Faro in Highland Park, California. We're going to get to know La Marisquera Mera Mera for the next episode of Hanging with Taqueros, sponsored by White Claw.
Para mi amigo Memo, el Isaco, viejo.
Este ceviche de tierra, 100% más
Empanada de camarón, a ver cómo está. Bienvenida a LA Taco, Vicky. ¿Cómo está?
Muy bien, gracias por la visita, gracias por la oportunidad y bienvenidos. Están aquí en los mejores mariscos de Highland Park.
Los mariscos. Mariscos del Faro es special. Ahora platíqueme. Yo sé que el ceviche famoso de aquí es el callo de lobina, pero platíqueme de la lobina.
Nosotros nos especializamos en el callo de lobina porque no todo el mundo lo prepara adecuadamente como se debe de ser aquí en todo el área de Los Ángeles. Me atrevo a decir que somos la casa de la lobina, con el chile chiltepín que traemos de Sinaloa también, y es lo que nos tiene en el puesto que nos tiene por la lobina, que tenemos un amigo muy especial que se llama Javier Cabral, que él nos descubrió aquí en Highland Park con el callo de lobina.
All right, shout out to Javier who discovered the callo de lobina out here. Platíquenos de la música que estaba tocando.
El dueño es mi hijo y es el que canta, Aresby Ibáñez, y él es el que siempre me apoya aquí y siempre está conmigo, siempre estamos él y yo juntos.
Aresby, ¿qué es tu comida favorita de la troca?
Pues todo el menú, oiga. Sí, pero en especial mis favoritos son las empanadas.
¿Por qué?
Porque son hechas a mano de mi madre.
Ok. Mother love, ok. Ándale.
¿Cómo se siente que su mamá es una de las mejores marisqueras aquí en Los Ángeles?
Ok. muchos mariscos en Los Ángeles, pero ¿por qué piensas que tu mamá es la marisquera mera en Los Ángeles?
Porque nosotros sí somos de Mazatlán al 100%, oiga, nosotros conocemos el marisco desde allá. Yo he comido almejas desde que estaba chiquito, ya como unos 4 o 5 años que yo me acuerde. Y toda la cultura de allá la quisimos poner aquí, enfocarla aquí en Los Ángeles, oiga. Y si somos uno de los mejores, vamos a ser los mejores.
Mazatlán se especializa por el mejor marisco en toda la República.
Nos vamos a pelear porque yo soy de Baja California, ¿eh?
Pero es totalmente diferente el estilo, pero yo voy a defender Mazatlán.
Yo no soy marisquera, estoy jugando, no. There you have it, LA Taco. We are here with Mariscos El Faro, with the bombest mariscos of Highland Park, representing Mazatlan, Sinaloa. You gotta come try, you gotta come visit. Stop playing. Thanks so much for tuning in to LA Tacos Hanging with Taqueros, sponsored by White Claw. Y'all, we're back. We're back from commercial break, and I am once again fangirling in this studio because we have a Salvi Reina up in this space right now. We have someone who has made me want to cut my own veins out. I'm sorry, that could be triggering, but yo, her words cut that deep, okay? We have Yesika Salgado in the building.
Hi, thank you for having me, LA Taco and Laura. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I watched last week, and I became an instant fan too.
I appreciate that so much. I love you.
You know,
yes.
Estamos con homegirl time.
Yes, I'm so excited. We at LA Taco nos queremos conocer. We want to get to know you beyond what the articles say because we know you're a bad bitch, okay? We know a lot of people know about you. We know that your story is out there and that you've shared a lot. But here, somos comadres, and I want to get down to the nitty-gritty of a lot of fun stuff, okay?
I love it.
So to start off real quick, I just have to ask, how are you doing?
I am doing great.
Yes.
I mean, LA traffic.
The disrespect. What freeway did you get on?
We survived. I don't drive.
Oh, yes, you're right. I did hear that recently.
I don't drive. Not on some bougie, like, can I cuss?
Yes, please.
Okay. Not on some bougie shit. I just literally never learned how to drive.
Yeah.
When my dad was alive and he would try to teach me, he was always drunk. And so, it never
Not a
happened.
Not a good combo.
But we got here, and so, like, I'm an LA girl through and through, but I always get confused with the freeways.
I feel you. Because we're right there by the East LA interchange, and they're just all over the place, and all of them. I feel you. I do too.
I live in Silver Lake, and just know that we go down Fletcher, and it's right there to the right, and then so I guess the 2, I don't know.
Yeah, no, and the 2 is disrespectful too, especially right now because it's what is it, rush hour?
Yeah.
So, but you look great, girl.
Thank you.
And just to start off, because I just want to point out that I am missing 2 acrylic nails. Shout out to my homegirl who fit me in for tomorrow. But your nails are popping. Talk to us about those.
So they are part of my uniform, what I call I have really short hands. And so I remember one time I was talking to my homeboy and I pointed at him and I'm like, you. And he started laughing at how little my finger was. But I just think that nails, they're also like a tradition, right? Like that we've seen, like, the older homegirls have them. Sometimes my mom didn't, but some of us have seen our older primas, our moms, our sisters.
That French tip, the acrylic, I used to get my nail sets done for $10 on Paul's Nails on Cesar Chavez. And it was $10, just French tip, short. And you could not, what's the new trend? It had me on a chokehold. Like, you cannot tell me different. $10 allowance, yep, French tip.
I used to go to this place in Vermont in Santa Monica.
What was it called?
And nails something, I don't know, you know, like it's just the rose, the hand with the rose on the window,
that logo.
And I think it was like $12 for like acrylics and French tip, right?
Do you remember that life?
Yeah. And then it was like the square round. And then a few years ago I started doing stilettos. And I just love how they look. Like, they look bomb, but they also look like they could be a weapon.
Right.
I call them my knives.
I love it.
So I'm just like, don't try me because I could claw your eyes out.
Because look, bitch, you laughed before, but what now? I mean, now it's disrespectful because I don't have a nail on my index, but I feel you.
But I know what it's like when you're missing like a nail or whatever. Like,
it's tragic.
During the pandemic, I didn't have my nails for a while, and then I started wearing press-ons. But I was just like, I feel ugly. Like, don't look at me. Like, I don't want to point. And when I perform, I use my hands. And I'm like, oh, and
It's
then
always
now.
it always feels bomb. When I get a new set, I feel like I'm a whole ass new person. Same thing with my eyebrows. When I have a new set, I'm like, don't fucking talk to me. What did you say? Like, nuh-uh.
Yeah,
I
you're
love it
unstoppable.
though. I love it. I also use them as like toothpicks. My brother makes so much fun of me, but if there's like a charcuterie board around, and if I have stilettos, bitch, toothpick where? Don't trip. I got it.
No, they come in so handy. And also, like, my dog loves to get
Oh.
scratched by them.
Yo, talk to us about your perrito.
Okay, so we got a pandemic puppy. His name is Mingo. He is a Chihuahua Terrier. He has a terrier body, but a Chihuahua heart.
So he likes to fight? Because
He-
Chihuahuas come from me and my ankles
You
daily.
know what? He's fine, but he barks at men.
Oh.
And then I was just like,
He knows what's up.
why do all my dogs hate men? What am I doing?
Yo, they feel the vibe, and they know that toxic masculinity and misogyny exists. So Mango knows what's up.
Yeah, his name is Mingo, and he's spoiled. I'm the person who adopted him, but I'm his least favorite person. Like he loves me, but it's my mom that
She's
like,
la reina.
you know, she was like, yo no quiero ningún perro, and then
En
now
esta
she's
pinche
like,
casa, yo.
she's like shredding chicken to mix in with his kibble, and like saving like little parts of her meal to give him.
I cannot. So
And then
she
I'm-
loves that. That's her grandchild.
Yeah, and then I'm like, stop giving him human food, and she's just like, es que tiene hambre.
I can't. He's hungry all the time. That's how it is.
Yeah,
right?
and then I was like, cause you keep feeding him, Mom.
That's so beautiful. I love the puppy. I see a Mango on Instagram, and it's just like, I don't have a pandemic puppy because I'm always de pata de perro, and I
Yeah.
feel like I would be such a neglectful puppy parent.
Oh, I am. I'm not meant to be a puppy mom, but it's like a group project.
Yeah.
It's my sister and my mom that do most of the.
When you have support, it matters.
Yeah.
But a puppy is a whole ass commitment. And when I see my friends with babies, I'm like, yo, a dog is a baby, right? Like, I gotta
No.
be there to make sure it's shitting. Like, it could shit, right? Like, there's so much that goes into having a dog. So
I have a 5-year-old nephew, and it feels like it's two of them sometimes. And then they got a puppy too. They got a corgi
Oh.
named Bowie.
do they get along?
They're best friends.
Oh, that's
the
good.
dogs
I'm
are
glad.
best friends. But like, I'm just like, it's 3 of them, because then the baby is just like, I'm a dog, and then like
Yep.
you're walking 3 dogs.
Right. And you know, that's beautiful community right there. Talk to us about your family, though.
Yeah.
I also follow your family, your mommy, your sister, your niece and nephew, right?
Yeah, so I am the oldest of 3.
Okay.
And then I'm Jessica, and then my sister Jennifer, and my youngest sister Julissa.
All the
So it's all
J's.
J's, but then I went and I changed it to a Y as my artist name, because there's too many Jessicas.
Yeah, I feel that. And you don't give off Jessica vibes.
I
Like,
feel like
you're
it's a white girl.
Jessica.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it's some white girl, and my middle name is Melissa.
Jessica Melissa.
Yeah, like,
Lord.
I'm offended.
Right. Like, what happened?
Yeah, so I'm the oldest, and then my sister after me, Jennifer, who we're only like about 18 months apart. She's a mom of 2 kids. She has Saya, that's 10, Henry, that's 5. And
Henry,
then
that's my boy. I don't know him, but I love when you like post about him. He is so precious.
he is, and people are like, he's so light skinned. I'm like, no, he's half white. Like, let's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
it happens.
you gotta call it where it's at.
You know, like, I don't think white men, but my sister, bless my brother-in-law, right? But yeah, no, he's a beautiful little boy, and my niece Saya is a brown, beautiful little girl, and she's 10, and she's like, she did her school project for Latinx Heritage Month on me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Did you
Um,
cry?
Yes.
I feel like crying right now. I got goosebumps.
Because I was like a person of significance, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so. She dressed up like it was like a living museum.
Oh my god.
So she wore a crop top and leopard leggings.
Did she wear lipstick?
No, she didn't. But she had like my sister also wears glasses, so she gave her like an old pair where she had taken out the lens.
Gosh, that's so
So
beautiful.
cute.
I love that. I love seeing the way that you talk about your family being like love, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, we don't always get along. We argue. Like, right before I came here, I was arguing with my mom because she was saying some wild shit. And, like, just stuff that we disagree on, and it happens. But at the end of the day, like, we lost my dad. My dad passed away 12 years ago.
I'm sorry. And I know it's rooted a lot of the poetry that you write, right? Yeah.
We were always a very close family. A las buenas y a las malas, And so when he passed away, we kind of just closed in on each other, and it was just the 4 of us, like, at home all the time. And then my sister got married and has her family now. But
and made the family beautiful and bigger.
Yeah, and they only live 10 minutes away. And so the kids after school come to our house. And then when my brother-in-law is done with his job, he comes, picks them up. And then, but during the pandemic, every birthday, all we did was the seven of us would get together. And the birthday person would pick what they wanted to eat. And so we would Postmate from whatever meal anyone wanted. Like we did boiling crab for someone's birthday.
They do Postmates? Or y'all
they're on Postmate.
I'm in the wrong place. I don't think the one in Alhambra does, but I would be ordering boils. Right. I love boiling crab.
Yeah, no, so it was really, it just makes it really easy when you know that you're living in this world as a very public person, but your inner circle is your sanctuary, and you can turn to them whenever, and they humble you too. Like whenever
1,000%.
Yeah, whenever I start feeling myself too much, that I'm like, Yesika, like my manager says, capital Y, capital S. Whenever I start feeling myself too much, like I have my family that they're like, no, like go wash your dishes,
right? Or, chill the fuck out.
Yeah. And so that's really good. And then also I really get along with some of my cousins, and it's really beautiful to be able to recharge.
I love that. And thanks for sharing that piece of you too, because I know that the internet could be disrespectful, and sometimes I'm like always hesitate sharing something because people will just come at you sideways. It's like, I don't even fucking know you, so take 7 seats.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I've had people like try to tell us that we're doing this wrong or that wrong or blah 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 whatever, but at the end of the day, like I know that everybody is gonna have an opinion of things, and nobody really knows what happens at home, you know? And so I share because, especially these last 2 years, and before that, también, like there's a lot of college students that go away from their families. Yeah. And a lot of my readers are college students. And so they feel like they get to experience some of that through social media, through following people like myself that are very loud and generous with our stories, you know. But I also respect boundaries. Nobody has really ever seen my youngest sister, because she doesn't like being she doesn't like being posted. She doesn't want to be like have any of that to deal with, and so that's fine. And with my sister, like I'm respectful. My niece and nephew have been recognized like at Chuck E. Cheese or at Starbucks.
They're celebrities out here too.
They're little celebrity babies. They're out there. They went to a pumpkin patch, and Beyonce's daughter was there.
Blue Ivy at the same. What pumpkin patch are y'all going to? Sign me up for next year.
I forgot which one they went to, but this was like a couple of years ago, and then Blue Ivy was there, and then there was a picture on online or whatever, and people were sending it to me.
Like, hey, this is Henry.
They're like, yeah, Henry is standing behind Blue Ivy. Wow. And then I was just like, wow.
2 celebrities in one picture.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it. I want to bring it back to people who are disrespectful on the internet, because something happened recently and I was shooketh. I wanted to fight for you. I swore I was your mom a little bit in my heart. I was like, what the fuck? But we mentioned your nephew Henry being half white. Yes. Someone recently on social media said that you were a white woman.
Oh, I get that pretty often.
Okay, and that's so hard for the Latino community to like differentiate and to accept white identity, because we were colonized. But you know, like so much of us have so much within our ethnic identities, right? I mean, I don't want to give my DNA to nobody, but talk to us about that. Like, and I really loved your response too. So if you could tell us about that too.
Yeah. So there's every now and then these accounts pop up and they start calling me a spicy Caucasian or a spicy European.
Oh, my Lord.
And I feel like it's the same couple of people, but whatever. First, we're going to put on the table, white Latinos exist.
Yes.
They're
not white passing.
They're not white passing. They're white, right? And then after that, there's a whole range of folks, right? Because like we always say, Latinidad is an ethnicity, not a race, right? So there's indigenous Latinos, there's mestizos, you know, which is where I fall. There's Afro Latinos, and then there's Asian Latinos and other identities that I might be missing, right? And so I'm a mestiza, and I'm on the lighter end, right? And that was a lot for me to learn to wrap my mind around, because I come from people, like from families that literally my parents were migrants, right? So I'm not like multi-generations being in this country. I'm the first generation that was born here. Yeah. So that wasn't dialogue in our family. In our family, we're like, we're just Salvadoran, and that's it, right? And so, and then also, I didn't go to college, so a lot of this identity conversations weren't things that I was used to. I knew that there were black folks, and I knew there were white folks, and I knew there were brown folks. And then I'm like, I'm brown. Yeah. And then I didn't realize that there's like hierarchies and all that. It's very nuanced, right? Yeah. And it changes. So whenever people tell me like, you're a white Latina, I'm like, I'm a light-skinned Latina, and I have a lot of privileges that I have to be aware of and unpack, and things that make me navigating the world easier. But I can never pass for a white person. Yeah. That has never been my experience.
Yeah. And even you just sharing that too, that there is privilege that comes with being a light-skinned Latina versus a white Latina, right? Yeah. And growing up, shout out to my friend Chaz, who always checked me when we were in college. All these novela artists who got the best tans, shout out to their tan artists. I was like, that's a brown man. And now as an adult, I'm like, Fernando Colunga, all these white motherfuckers who I was like, they're so Mexican. And I'm like, these are white ass food. Alicia Villarreal, all these people, right, I grew up thinking they're Mexican, they're brown, right? And so it takes so much to deconstruct that. But I just want to say that the people that come for you are tripping, right? But it's a good conversation to have. And I think it's good that people are reading it, because I'm sure there are a lot of your followers who are also unpacking that. Yeah. And understanding that.
And I lean into it, like I laugh. Because, like, when I get called, like, a spicy European, I'm like, I've never in my life have been mistaken for a white person. I don't think I could pass for a white person. And like, I am on the lighter side, and I'm not going to deny that. But also my features are not very European, right? Yeah. And so it's interesting. And also, like, being a fat woman of color becomes, like, this whole other conversation. But, like, I just lean into it, and I start calling myself a spicy Caucasian, a spicy European. My grandmother was indigenous. My grandfather was mestizo. On my father's side of my family, I don't know much of that family, but they're browner than I am. But I'm not going to take on their identities, because that's not mine. That's not how I'm moving. Yeah. But I'm like, cool. Like, I'm down to have these conversations. But I think the bigger conversation is, like, when we start policing each other in a sense, and it's not to correct bad behavior, right? Like, it's important to point out people's privileges and correct that. Yeah. But when we're just doing it for the sake of, like, trying to win something, is like, it makes it hard to really check the people that are fucking up. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like the defensiveness comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm defending myself because this came out of nowhere. Yeah. But then some white Latina comes in and be like, I feel you. I feel like this. Exactly. And I'm like, nah, homegirl.
Like, it blurs the conversation a lot. Yeah.
I'm like, nah, homegirl, it's not the same thing, porque, like, if you don't open your mouth, no one's going to know. Yeah. No one's going to know that you're a Latina, and if you decide to not use your last name or whatever, it's not going to be apparent. Yeah. But for me, I go to the Midwest. I book a gig in the Midwest, and all these white fools want to talk to me in Spanish.
Yeah, right.
And call me Maria.
That's the worst. Why are they so goddamn disrespectful? Like, hola. Nah, bitch, what's up? Like, get the fuck out my face with your one-worded Spanish intros. Like, I hate it.
I mean, like, I guess, I would be bored. Like, it gets, all they do is eat cheese and
fried cheese curds and all. Which I love, right? I do love cheese curds, but
a pupusa shows up and they get excited,
Se emocionan. So you're taking me to the next question that I want to ask, because we're talking about boys in general. I am here in solidarity with you as we call out toxic masculinity and misogyny and all these trash ass men. What's your ideal man, though?
Ooh, I gotta ask.
I'm just curious. Yeah. I'm curious because I have friends. I mean, shout out to my boo. Before meeting him, my friends would make fun of me and say, girl, Laura will sprint at the sight of a thick, tall man with a beard and dimples. And that is what my man looks like. So, but I'm just curious. Bless you. Fuck them and like their abuse, right? But also, like, what's Yesika's ideal man?
I know. I'm like, I hate men, but I'm like, but.
Right. But shit.
Man. I think appearance-wise, I like tall men, and I think it's not because I feel like short men don't deserve love. I've seen some fine ass short men, but I think it's my own proportion things. Because like, I'm already short and round, and then I'm like, and you're already short too. Like, like I don't want it to be
bring
like
that much of a difference.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want to feel someone that like it's bigger than me. Yeah, and so like I like a tall, like meaty, like like, and I love beards. Before he became very problematic, I was very into Drake. but he broke my heart.
I did want to bring that up.
He broke my heart, and we're broken up. But if someone out there looks like Drake that is not problematic,
hit Yesika up.
My Instagram is okay. but also personalities go a long way for me. Like I could say that I have an ideal for a man, but if I meet the right, I like a man that's smart, that can teach me something, but won't talk down to me.
Right.
And that can make me laugh because he's genuinely funny. Because so many men out there think they're funny, and they're not.
And then you're just sitting there like, fool, shut your ass up and buy me dinner. Like, ya me debes más. Ya me debes más.
Just be funny or learn how to, not talk. And then, either or,
You gotta know. You gotta know what you gotta do.
But, that always gets me in trouble because then I tend to, be attracted to the loudest motherfucker in a room. And that's something I'm trying to unlearn because that's how I ended up dating all the Capricorns.
Oh, Lord. Talking about the zodiacs. I have it against Aries. I think Aries are so disrespectful in my life.
Capricorn will ruin your cervix and your credit.
I don't know if I'm mad at the first one, but I'm mad at the second one.
But because that's how they distract you, and then they're ruining your whole life, you know.
And last week we had Mala on, and I know that Locatora Radio also had you moons ago.
They're my homegirls.
Yes. And they talked about dating with you too. And as I listened to the episode, girl, you got down and dirty when it came to sex. Are you comfortable talking about that today?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What sex position do you think is heaven sent? What sex position do you think?
I mean, doggy style is always the go-to, and it's uncomplicated, and fools feel comfortable that way.
Yeah.
And if it's not going good, they're not looking at my face to see
right. That's true. You can mask it.
You can mask it,
strategy.
or you could really enjoy it.
Yes.
So that tends to be a really
Enjoyable.
basic position, but that can make them feel like they're doing something.
Yeah.
Because you'll be surprised. Men really like vanilla sex. They're really basic. They'd be thinking they're doing something. And then, they think that you did some wild ass shit and all you did was get on top.
Right.
And then they're
wow. And also, just gonna ask this question. There was a tweet. Did you create this tweet? Because now that shit's on t-shirts, on mugs probably. But it was, Dear Fat Girl, don't be afraid to get on top. If he dies, he dies. Did you coin that?
No, it was a black woman that tweeted it.
Thank you so much. Because we were trying to find the origin of it. And I'm like, I remember Yesika tweeted it. And I just want to let you know, because you tweeted it, shout out. Who's the black woman?
I don't remember, but I remember that it was a black creator on Twitter.
Okay.
And
you reposting it literally gave me the courage to try. Because as a thick bitch, it's scary sometimes. It's like, oh my God, is it going to be too much? Is it going to be scary? And I said, wow, let it be what it is. Let me enjoy the ride. I'm a stallion. I'm just out here. I rediscovered myself.
What I always tell women whenever they're like, how do you do it? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, has a man ever told you to put your clothes back on and go home?
Right.
If you're fat, they knew you were
yeah.
Hello,
maybe this is what comes with it.
You saw me. You knew what you were getting. Yeah. They know what they signed up for.
Yeah.
But we show up and we're
all
trying to be turn off the light and da da da. One of the times that I really had I had to walk my talk was with my ex, my most recent ex. We were hooking up at his friend's house in his friend's kids' room, but they weren't there. So we were
oh girl, you really out here.
And so we were we're not gonna have sex on the bed because that's a kid's bed and it doesn't feel right? So we'll have sex on the floor. And then we couldn't find the light switch. So we had to have sex with the light on.
I was about to say, was it on or off?
It was on. So the light was on.
Also, you were brave because with these knees, I cannot. The floor, baby, no blankets. No San Marcos blanket as cushion.
I think we had a pillow, but that was it.
Oh,
and
Lord.
So, no, but then wait. And then the mirror, the wall was mirrors. Two of the walls were mirrors.
And the lights on.
And the lights were on.
I'd be a little scared.
And I was just well, fuck it.
We doing it.
No, and then he goes, get naked.
Ridiculous.
I love this man, but he was just very dry and was very, I don't know. I'm not even going to go into
Can we do some foreplay? Can you get me excited?
I think he was anxious too. We were both weird, but then I was just fuck it. So then I got naked and then he got naked and we had sex that way. But then afterwards, I felt closer to him. The sex wasn't great. Yeah. I think it was just the situation was weird for us.
Also the floor. I said, my hat's off to you because I could never.
It wasn't good, but I felt closer to him after because I was just we had one of those moments where there was nothing to hide behind. Yeah. And literally dead silence we could hear each other breathing. We could hear the slapping. Like,
that's actually a good question. Do you like silent sex or do you like to talk? Because I love to hear talking. If it's silent, I'm just like, if I can hear the crickets outside because the crickets near my house are disrespectful, then what's going? Why aren't you whispering things into my ear? Why?
I like to talk. I like to talk, and but usually there's always some kind of music in the background.
Okay.
I love music. Yeah, so I like an ambience.
What's a good sex song?
Whew,
I like Gregory Isaacs, reggae artist. Wow, it just sets the mood.
You know what? I like old R&B.
Oh, okay.
Like Genuine and like Maxwell.
The original panty droppers before
that kind of stuff. Like I love making playlists, and I have like
a sex one.
Like I have a slow strokes playlist.
Do you have that shared? Because I do follow some of your playlists.
Yes, it's shared.
Okay, make sure you follow Yesika on Spotify, right?
Yes.
Or is it Apple Music?
It's on Spotify.
Okay,
so
cool.
it's Yesika Salgado on Spotify. And it's slow strokes, and it's all that kind of music. But then there's also like lo-fi, like if you just want, like, I think it's because I grew up having sex. I would date a boy that would crawl into my bedroom window. And we would have sex in my room. So we would always have like, I lost my virginity to Beyonce's first album.
Her solo album. I am in love with you, girl. No, you didn't. That is so funny.
And then it was one of those CD players where it was like 5 CDs or 3 CDs.
Yep,
or something.
and it switched around.
Because it was Beyonce, and then it was Missy Elliott's the one with the little girl when she was doing all the dancing, that album. Yeah.
Wow. So then that CD played too?
Yeah, then that
So you're just out here having an eclectic sex tape.
Yeah.
Sex moment.
Sex moment. And so then I guess I got used to having like sex to music. And it also helps, like, if you're both being awkward and you can't find your rhythm, at least the music has the rhythm.
It sets the ambience.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I love it. Well, we did talk about your ex, and I want to get into your poetry because, Lord, like I said in the beginning, I just want to say that I went through a very toxic breakup in 2017. It was really hard for me. I discovered so much about myself, and your poetry would have me sobbing. It came to a point, we bought your books at the job that I have, which is as an educator, right? And we bought your books for our students. And one of my lunch hours, I said, let me snatch one of these up and take it to my lunch hour. I had to take a 2-hour lunch because the bitch was shattered. I was like all the poetry. I can't even remember if it was Corazon or Hermosa's the latest.
Yeah, Hermosa came out.
Talk to us about your 3 books too, in case people aren't familiar with your work.
Sure. So I've had the fortune of having 3 books published through an independent publisher based in LA called Not a Cult.
Yes.
And the first book, Corazon, was published in 2017. And it's kind of answering the question, am I worthy of love?
That's the one. That's it.
Yeah. So it starts me being like, I don't think I'm worthy of love. And then falling in love, falling out of love, and discovering that, like, love exists in many ways, like my family with my homegirls, and all of that. And then the second book, Tesoro, is more of the story of, like, how patriarchy and machismo have affected the woman I've become, and also the women in my family. So it's kind of like, how did we survive the men? And like, we're still surviving them, right?
Yeah.
And then that's my toughest, darkest book. And then my third book, Hermosa, is basically like now that I've survived, like, who am I? Who's Yesika?
Yeah.
And it's kind of that. And I think all 3 books were written when I was in and out of this relationship with this man for like 8 or 9 years. And the last book, Hermosa, was like when I already knew that we were over. I thought we were over when I wrote Corazon. And so I turned in the manuscript, and the next day I was in his bed.
I cannot. You said, okay, book submitted, healed, but wait.
He posted a picture that he was at a wedding, and then he goes, I love love. And I go, you don't know what the fuck love is. And then we started arguing, and then I was at his house. So whatever. And then after that, Tesoro happened, and there wasn't a lot of love poems in that because that's not what the book lent itself to. But I do talk about being like a woman with like bipolar disorder and having all of this trauma, like, and it's just like this, does it make it difficult to love me, is kind of like what I was trying to navigate in that.
Yeah.
And then but then Hermosa was like, all right, we didn't work out, we're gonna be fine, the love still happened, but like, go be with somebody else now.
Yeah, like, I'm releasing you.
And
That's
then,
so beautiful.
Yeah, and I even named him in the thank yous because I had never named him, and I typed out his whole name in the thank yous. The relationship went really bad. He became an anti-vaxxer, and he thinks the government is giving us COVID. Like, it's just a lot. at the time, I didn't think that's where he was headed. But
and we find out things later, right? We think we love somebody, we paint the red flags green, we do all of that.
Girl, like, I'm like, what happened?
Like, who are you?
And I've been telling my homegirl, and she's just like, girl, he's been a mess. Like, I've never not thought he was a mess. And I'm like, yeah, but I just didn't.
Love blinds us. Love really, like, takes everything that's bad away and just makes them look like a piece of juicy meat. All right, that's probably not the great analogy, but you know, like something that's appealing, that's companionship, right?
There's a line in my poem that says, the worst parts of me love the best parts of you. So, like,
I wasn't healed.
Yeah,
when I was loving you.
So whatever that part is that is looking to fix something in my life, kept trying to do that through that relationship. Yeah. Until, like, I was just like, that's not ever gonna happen. And I think I was able to walk away from it when I looked at the relationship and I go, what am I holding on to?
Yeah. Like why am I so aferrada?
Yeah, was this fool giving me that I can't get anywhere else in the world? Yeah. And then when the answer was nothing, I was just like, all right, I'm out. Yeah. And that's beautiful. Like, and I wish you luck, enjoy, and leave me alone.
and now let me go write these fire ass books, right?
I mean, like, he was really gracious about a lot of the poetry because he had to, like, see it on Instagram while we would still be, like, kind of together. It's a trip to be a writer and try to date.
Let's get into that. What is that like? I am a huge fan of you calling out these foods on. First of all, also, why plenty of fish? Because we talked with Mala last week and we talked about the dating apps and I'm off the market. But back in my thing was Hinge and Bumble. Bumble was the hit. That's where I met my man. Yeah. But I see you posting plenty of fish and I'm like, that is the app that stressed me out. I swear, the first time I was terrified of dating apps. The first time I put my information out there, I said my favorite ice cream was Rocky Road. Why does the man have the audacity to be like, can I lick Rocky Road off your titties? I said, bitch, where are the marshmallows and almonds gonna go? It was just, plenty of fish terrified me. And so every time you post it, I just want to jokingly be like, girl, have you tried another one? Yeah, I'm like, girl, plenty of fish, why?
Well, this is the thing that folks need to understand. I'm not really actually looking for someone. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you.
And so the apps are more of a social commentary thing. And so a lot of the apps have tried to curve the harassment. So then you have Hinge and Bumble where they can't message you unless you give them permission to.
Yeah, you have to message them first. Yeah.
So Plenty of Fish is my example of what happens when you're just existing.
Research, if you will.
Yeah. And like literally, like I have my profile set up, all pictures that you would find on my Instagram. Whatever, and then like the bio says, like, I don't even know, something about like no white men. Ooh. And then like
boundary setting.
But they still try it. Still try it
all the time. I bet,
because they always think they're the exception,
right?
And it's just to see what messages come through, and it's always some wild, out of pocket, and then you see them sometimes when I don't answer. You see them switch up.
Oh yeah,
like it'll be like, hey, what's up? I think
what
you're
up, beautiful. Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Hey, fat bitch. And then I'm like,
how did we get here? You were on my tit 2 weeks ago. What happened?
Or it'd be like, suck my dick. And I'd be like, hey, how are you doing? Like, after I don't answer. And then I'm like, at first you don't succeed, I guess. And so there's been a lot. And so then I take those screenshots and I post them on my social media. Yes. I also get a lot of harassment on every platform that I'm on. Fat women get overly sexualized, especially fat women of color, you know, and so I think it's important to bring attention to that. Yeah. But I also like to show other men what men do when they think no one's watching. Because these fools might be like some respectful. I've had people tell me that's my boss.
Oh, Lord.
And he's like, I thought he was like,
these
and
fools
he's
are out
married.
here living double lives, like just out here being established people that people love, and then next thing you know, what the fuck are you doing on the dating app?
Yeah, and they'd be like...
I'm so happy you call them out and leave their pictures, too, because we need to know. I feel like it's a form of safety for us, too, like keeping trucha. Like, people tweet at me sometimes, and other people will be like, oh, shit, he did the same thing to me. Like, just outlandish-ass shit. Like, y'all men ain't shit.
I get a lot of other plus-size women that will tell me, like, oh, he's been in my DMs, too.
Lord.
Yeah, and it gets really messy, so whatever. Yeah. But, you know, I'm on Hinge. Yeah. I'm checking it out. But girl,
it's exhausting. It really is. I had moments where I was like, I don't think I want anything. And I'm a Libra. I'm always motherfucking in love. I'm just like, you can give.
I'm a Cancer.
My whole family is Cancers, which is interesting because they're very different. What kind of Cancer are you? Because I feel like there's like the ones, and then there's like the.
I'm both.
You're both. I love
both.
that. Yeah, because I'm surrounded by both.
I'm a chillona and I'm also a pleitista.
Yeah.
So like,
see, I live with like my parents are both. My mom is more of like the chill, softer, and my dad is like the pleitista. Shout out to Guillermo. But we fight all the time.
I have a mouth on me. I run my mouth, but I also have a really soft heart.
Yeah,
and
we love that.
And so like the balance. Sometimes, one of your staff folks outside, he was like, "Yeah, you cussed me out on Clubhouse one day," and I was just like,
Memo, yeah,
Memo, and then I'm like, it happened.
Yo, you gotta check him. It's because he was saying, "What up, guys?" And it's a full room full of mujeres.
Yeah, like, it was all women, and he's like, "What up, guys?" I'm like, but you know, I'm like, everybody gets to smoke, but also everybody gets to love. Yeah, it's always just like, if you get the smoke and you take it, like, you know, chill,
too, yeah,
then we're good. But if you want to fight, let's fight. I got my knives.
I love it. I'm here for it. So to close out, I did have a question I was curious about because so much love from your work exudes towards me. And I know all your mangos, your fans feel that too. Because look at your following, right? Like the work that you do is a testament to probably a lot of people's healing. Because I'm telling you, there's this poem that you wrote about finding out if someone could learn to swim with you. There's some shit that I carry. There's some lines from Corazon. Like, is this the last time you're gonna work to make someone love you or something? All those lines really guided me through my healing. So I want to ask you, like, what would your definition of love be, if you could describe that before we close out?
I think for me, love is a mango. It's a fruit, right? It's like, I think we're all green mangoes moving around the world, and all of a sudden we meet somebody that makes us start ripening. Yeah, veces
I got goosebumps. I feel like I'm ripe.
I was these people bump into us a little bit hard, and then you know that the bruise on a fruit is all the sugar concentrating in one place. So when we're heartbroken, it's like all that love that's kind of like choking up our heart. So like, yeah, whenever you're heartbroken, just focus on giving that love to other people, and then like you get through that. But yeah, I really think that we're all like fruits moving around trying to find somebody, you know, que nos eche un poquito de sal y limón y que nos dé una mordida. Yeah,
wow. If you can see, my eyes are definitely watering. Oh. Thank you so much, Yesika. It was so beautiful to have you here. I know we've met a couple of times through so many different situations because you are out here doing all the beautiful things.
Girl, I'm tired, but yes, we're out here.
Well, I just wish you all the more éxito. I know that you've tweeted about some exciting things coming up and that you can't share it, but I'm excited to hear it.
Thank you. And I'm excited to see the show grow. And I think it's really beautiful, and it's a service to LA, and any way that I could support, I'm here.
Thank you, Yesika. We love you.
Thanks
to all the folks watching. We're about to go to another commercial break, but stay tuned for another great guest who's here with us in the studio. We'll be right back. What's up, folks? My name is Laura Tejeda, and I'm a reporter for LA Taco.
Well, let's see. We're going to have a dance battle contest.
That was El Grito with the Tarzan spin. Today, I'm super excited because I'm with Vias Tacos Los Angeles Highland Park, and we're going to get to know the taqueros behind the bomb tacos with the support from our sponsor, White Claw. Can you do El Grito?
Yeah, not as loud as my brother.
Give it a try for us. He's like, let me let you know now, I can't do it.
I'm just going to do it, and then if it doesn't come out, it was just
My grito is wild. Don't even try.
Okay. I'm going to just fly.
That was El Grito with the Tarzan spin. Okay, I'm here, fearless. I'm backing up 100%.
Hoy en mi triste soledad me han dado ganas de gritar, salir corriendo y preguntar qué es lo que ha sido de tu vida.
Gente,
Oh, that's my husband.
Who's the best dancer on the team?
I'm probably the best dancer on this team.
I'm going to have to say it's like a tie between my dad and my brother.
Okay.
I think it goes neck to neck with both victors.
Oh, no. He's always had that talent for dancing. I would have to say Big Victor.
Who is that?
So you better work. Hey. So tell us, what is your
your favorite taco aside from Villa's Tacos? I would have to say Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Craig. Hell yeah.
You know, and it's really good. There's some taco sauce.
Let's go to Avenue 26, just late at night.
I like lobster tacos. Lobster, we got someone bougie on the Villa's team. You know.
It'll be a ribeye taco.
Ribeye taco.
Oh, that's an easy one. I go to my grandma's house, and then she gets down.
What is your favorite White Claw?
They're right here. The watermelon is my go-to on Fridays.
My favorite White Claw flavor is definitely the watermelon.
Why?
I feel like it gives me like, you know that watermelon paleta feel? Like that one. That gives me that feel.
The watermelon paletas.
Saturdays and Sundays.
It's gotta be mango. I gotta go with the mango, yeah. It's refreshing.
And when I'm trying to keep it chill, Monday through Sunday, it's gotta be the mango.
Mango? Why?
Yeah. It's just the flavor of the mango. I'll go with the mango. Shout out to LA Taco. Shout out to White Claw. Thanks for coming. Thanks for all the love on behalf of me and all my beautiful team. I wish you the best in life, and I wish you a happy life. Big out. These tacos in the building.
What is up, LA Taco fam? We are back from the break. We just had Yesika Salgado, beautiful poet and extraordinaire in Los Angeles. And right now, I'm super excited to introduce our second guest. I mentioned Linda Yvette Chavez earlier, showrunner and writer for Gentefied. And we actually have somebody who made a quick little cameo in Gentefied here in the studio with us. The funny fool from Long Beach, California. We got Jesus Trejo in the house. What is up, Jesus? What's up?
What's up?
I need to get a little soundboard and have the applause. Right.
Yeah.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú cómo estás?
Aquí nomás, excited to have you in the studio.
Aquí nomás pasándola. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, this is great. What a beautiful studio. Yeah, this is great. What a beautiful day.
Yeah, there's so much I want to talk to you about, but I want to start off by calling you a perro.
Okay.
Because I saw you coming from my girls on Gentefied on season 2.
I know,
this little
man.
cameo. Talk to me about
that character either, man. He was saying some wild stuff on there, but. You know, I think Gentefied did a great job of just giving us a slice of life of, you know, they're really diving into some issues that I think other writers would kind of like avoid or kind of go around.
It's too hard, right?
It's too hard, but they do such a beautiful way of like presenting it in a way that people get to see a glimpse of what it's like to be out here.
Definitely,
yeah, big shout out to all the writers, the actors, the staff, everybody on there, because it was, you know, congrats on season 2, and especially, you know, it's like they're putting it down really, you know, putting raza on. So it's like kudos to everybody involved over at Gentefied. Congrats on season 2, and here's to 100 more.
Yes, we hope they keep going, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned in the beginning that you're repping Long Beach.
Long Beach, born and raised.
I want to hear your entire story, because sitting in front of us, we have somebody who is a bomb stay-at-home son.
Yeah.
I know your comedy special, but how did you get to where you are now? Like, you are popping out here. I did my research.
Oh, man.
Aside from being this extra on Gentefied, you're also doing a lot more. So tell us about how you got here. Give us your origin story. At LA Taco, we like to find out shit that people don't know. So give us the chisme, give us the tea.
Okay, the chisme. I'll give you the whole rundown. You know, I'm an only child. That's not like a typical thing. I'm an only child between my parents. My parents, mi mamá es de Guadalajara, mi papá es de Sinaloa.
Ooh, okay.
And so I was born on East Side Long Beach, born and raised. Went to college at Cal State Dominguez Hills, go Toros.
Okay, repping.
Yeah, repping. And then, you know, I grew up basically mowing lawns with my father. So it's like that was like my whole upbringing was really mowing lawns, being out in the field with my father.
Okay.
And it wasn't great. I hated it at the time. It was so embarrassing, you know, but it's like as you grow up and look back, you're like, that was really cool. You know, it's like to have those strong roots and, you know, just work ethic. I feel like work.
And hustling alongside your father, I'm sure must have been beautiful too. Like, we don't appreciate those moments until we're a little bit older, right?
Isn't that weird how that happens?
I used to sneak into the car in my dad's white Astro van when he would play Ramon Ayala. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Dad? And now I'm like, what up?
Yeah.
Like,
What does your father do?
My dad actually works for the gas company.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he grew in that company. He got his degrees as he got older with me, but
that's beautiful.
So he's popping. He's doing work out there.
Yeah, for me it was just mowing lawns and doing that kind of thing. And as a kid, when my dad used to drop me off at school in his work van, I was like kind of embarrassed, you know, because you would show up, you know, smelling like oil and gasoline, and you're like, wait, why do you smell like a mechanic right now? It's like
But I mean, that was the basis. I mean, he laid out the groundwork for having the work ethic and the, you know, and yeah, just for the hustle and, you know, giving me that sense of urgency that I think a lot of, you know, Latinos our age right now have to, you know, be able to provide for your parents and also live your dream of, you know, becoming professionals in whatever aspect you want to do. So it was, you know, as I'm going into comedy, I don't know how to figure out comedy. I don't know where to even begin. So I started doing like coffee shops and that kind of thing. This is around college for me. And then I ended up at the Comedy Store. So I was at the Comedy Store.
I want to know about that. How was that? The Comedy Store is a legendary place where a lot of folks started, right?
Yeah. I mean, you name it. There's been, I mean, legends have gone through those doors and got their name on the wall. And I basically started there. And it's, you know, it's very hard to tell your parents that you're leaving a business degree and leaving any attempt at the corporate world to go park cars at the Comedy Store. So I ended up being essentially a valet. That was one of the jobs that Mitzi Shore, Pauly Shore's mom, who used to be the owner of the Comedy Store, she had this system in place, right? Where you would go to the Comedy Store and you would do open mic. And then from there you get passed to what's called Friends and Family, which is, you know, considered the incubating stage of a comedian where you get to develop. Okay. And then eventually you get what's called Passed, which is you can now put availability through the week. You can perform on the main stages, the original room, and you get your name on the wall. So there's these 3 steps to get to the kind of like the paid regular part of it. And for me, I didn't choose. It just happened to go that way where it's like, I want to work here. And eventually I found myself parking cars at the Comedy Store. And you name your favorite comedian, if they went to the store, I probably parked their car.
Wow. What was that like for you to know that you want to aspire to be, right? You're doing big things. But back then, what was that like for you?
It was like, I looked at it like college, right? So I'm here and you know, they're paying me to learn basically. So it was like kind of like my financial aid check coming in, my little $7 an hour, parking cars where I could see the best comedians in the world perform. And also at the end of the week, I was also getting about 3 minutes of stage time. Sometimes I would get 2 spots, meaning 6 minutes total. And to me, I was like, you know, it's a big deal. I'm developing, I'm getting closer to my goal, and you meet comics and you go on the road, you open for comics, and, you know, eventually it's a long road. I feel like, and like anyone who's watching this, who's like an artist of any kind, is like, you know what I'm talking about when I say it's like art is the longest internship you'll ever be a part of, because there are years where you do not get paid even remotely. Like for comics, sometimes you drive 2 hours to do a gig for a beer.
Wow.
It's like, we'll give you a beer and some nachos. You're like, all right. So you go down there. Or sometimes like, hey, come down. We'll give you $20 for gas. It's like, well, that was like $30 in gas.
And you're out there putting your heart and soul into these numbers, I'm sure.
Yes, of course. Yeah, you go out there and you write. It's like, you know, you stumble on something you want to do and you were meant to do when that's all you think about. And the beer and the 2-hour drive for a 5-minute set and then 2 hours back home, it's not even a problem to you.
It's worth it.
The problem is, why didn't I get that joke to work?
Yeah.
You know, it's just how you look.
It?
Yeah, how do you perfect it? So, and I've been very fortunate that, you know, the well of material for me comes from my family. Everything that I talk about is all family related. I talk about my mom and dad, my upbringing, you know, what I'm experiencing now. So it's really cool. It's almost therapeutic in a weird way. So stand up gives me that platform.
I bet. And I do want to get into your parents, but before we jump to that, I need to ask, because I'm also a spooky bitch, which means that I love scary shit. I love Halloween.
Really?
You said spooky bitch. What?
Spooky. I'm like, no, I don't like anything scary. I'm like, I'm out. Thank you guys for having me. LA Taco. We'll see you next time.
If a ghost appeared right now, I would welcome it as a guest to join us.
And I'll be the first person out this building for sure.
So we know the rumors that go around, and we see all these documentaries or even shows on Netflix about the Comedy Store being haunted. Did you ever experience something at the Comedy Store?
Yes.
Oh, tell us about it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Cue the music with the spooky music.
That's so funny. That's a great question. I've never been asked that before. Wow. Yeah, that was a scary one. So at the time, the store, you know, the store has had waves of like it being super busy and then it kind of being dead over the years. So when I started working there, it was definitely kind of dead. So when I would go up, it would be like at 1:30 in the morning, and there'd be a couple people there. Sometimes I'm just performing to my buddies that work the door or sitting people.
And hey, that's an audience.
And that's an audience, you know. And it's just basically me performing to my homie in the back of the room, going, "Nah, that's not really funny."
Work.
Yeah, that didn't work. I'm like, it's just you, man. So it was one of those nights, and Yeah, this question caught me off guard, but definitely real.
We love to stump people here.
Yeah,
and
man.
by we, I mean me.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. So I'm performing in the original room, which is the first room that you walk in. There's a window.
And there's 3, right?
Yeah, there's 3. There's
Okay.
the main room, which is like a 400-seater approximately.
Mm-hmm.
The original room, which is the first room that Mitzi started with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like about a 180. And then the belly room's upstairs, holds about 80.
Okay.
And so this is in the original room. I'm performing late night. This is about 1:30 in the morning. It's late. There's 2 or 3 audience members, and my homies are in the back. My homies now sitting in the bucket seats in the very back where only the comedians sit, and the seat closest to the door is where Mitzi used to sit and take notes on comics and that kind of thing. So I'm there performing, and I felt somebody that, as I'm performing, I felt somebody behind me that kind of like, you know, when somebody like flicks your ear, that you can hear like the motion of like the finger that goes kind of past the ear. So I heard it.
Wind and a little bit of a snap.
Yes.
Yep.
So I heard that, and I figured somebody was behind me. But it's late night. Sometimes comics would go on stage and, you know, pop out from behind that curtain just to mess with the audience, or, you know, trying to make it a moment because it's so miserable.
Yeah.
So I figured somebody was behind me. So I'm gonna play along with it. Then I hear it again, and then finally I kind of like swing my arms around. I'm like, there's nobody there. So then I open the curtain. I kind of like kick the curtain first, and
You're
nothing.
like,
So I
who the
open
fuck is behind this
and
curtain
there's
messing me up?
nothing there. And I'm like, what was that? And then one of the Randolph, very funny comic. He was working the door at the time. He goes, hey man, there was a cloud of smoke over your head, right? So when you're performing, most people don't know this, but there's kind of like this AC kind of like hole above that. I don't know where it goes to, but there's a hole. If you don't pay attention to it, you don't see it. So
is it blowing air at you in case of the nerves and
no,
sweat?
it doesn't work. It's been there like it's been there since, I don't know, you know, back when Bugsy Siegel used to own the building.
Yeah.
You know, it was Ciro's back then. It was a nightclub.
Yeah.
So he said that there was a cloud of smoke over my head, and then it shot up. And I said, that's weird. I'm like, because no one's smoking in the room. He's like, maybe somebody's vaping or something. I said, nah, I don't know. But he said he literally saw the cloud of smoke that kind of hovered. He's like, as you kept turning around, and it shot up. And I remember just having this crazy feeling. I didn't put in availability like for 2 weeks because I was just so freaked out about it. Randolph was freaked out about it. And I guess Randolph talked to one of the audience members. He's like, I saw the cloud of smoke. I thought it was like a shtick or something. He's like, nah, man. Like, what would you describe it as? It's like kind of scary. And that's all I needed to know.
Wow.
And it kept me away for a while. Like, that stuff creeps me out for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I
love
literally,
it?
I love comedy too. So I feel like I haven't made my way to the Comedy Store, which is so wild because everyone in my life is like, you're in LA and you love comedy and you've never been there.
You got to come out.
I know. And I both of those things want to bring me there. I want to see a ghost. Like, I'm manifesting something tapping me on the shoulder. As long as there's audience members around.
What would you do if you saw a ghost?
I think I would be like, I think I would want to record it. It just brings me so much joy to feel or see anything spooky. Now, paranormal activity shit, terrifying. If something's flying at me, if my cupboard doors are opening up and down, if like a crucifix smacks me in the forehead, I'm fucking getting out of there as fast as I can because I'm about to be possessed.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like, I'm hearing you say these things. It's like, you're assuming that the ghosts are always friendly.
That's true.
I'm going to take a picture of him like he's going to be there like he or
Like,
she
what up,
or the
girl?
entity, the energy. Like another one? Let me see the phone.
I know.
How'd
And
I come out?
Maybe that's connected to my upbringing because I think spirituality was always a part of my life. Like, I had an uncle who passed away when I was 8, and when we would talk about him, shit would happen around the house.
Really?
And maybe that's why I like it. I mean, I do like shit that scares me, like Exorcist, all that. Michael Myers. I used to play a game with myself as a kid that I would be in my room and I would like pretend it, like, you know, when you're a kid, you have an imagination. I would pretend that Michael Myers was chasing me. Because my brother didn't want to let me play with the G.I. Joe, so I said, I need entertainment. Yo, let's play with Michael Myers. Imaginary.
God bless your heart, man. I didn't have a lot of toys growing up, and I had a lot of imagination. Let me tell you, I never used my imagination to scare me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm obsessed with Halloween, so maybe that's it. But
Really?
I guess maybe I connect ghosts with like some type of like joy or entertainment. But I feel you. I have seen like those shows, like those crime shows where it shows creepy ghosts. So I guess maybe I need to experience something bad to really scare the shit out of me.
There's definitely energy at the store, and there's a lot of scary stories that you know the older comics have that you're like, that has to be true. There's like, you can't write that, and it's just like you feel the energy. I mean, the place has been around for a long time. Bugsy Siegel owned it. years ago, and it was a nightclub
in the 1920s.
Yeah, the Rat Pack used to
Yeah.
hang out there. So it was a different time. It was a lot going on in there, and over the years with comedy and all that, it's a scary place, and I'm just like,
You're like, fuck that.
I've even seen videos where, like, the documentaries or whatever, where they talk about that there's orbs in there that kind of go back and forth in the attic, in the basement. I'm like, and guess where I don't go anymore?
The
basement
basement.
and attic. I'm like, I'll just be right here by the audience members.
Yeah, I'm over here thinking I'm invincible. I swear, I feel like what those fools what bone do they gotta pick with me?
God
But
bless
who
your heart.
knows?
I'm not built like that. Salute, girl.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's my obsession with Halloween, probably. But thank you for breaking that down, because that was one of my first questions when I saw that you performed at the Comedy Store. I was like, I have to ask that. So that's real dope. So let's bring it back to La Familia. Have your comedy special right now called Stay at Home Son.
Stay at Home Son on Showtime. It's streaming now. You can download it, stream it. It's out there. Please check it out.
We love it. So tell us about that. How did you get to writing that? Are your parents your fans? What is that like navigating?
Man, my parents are just adorable, man. It's like, it's like in that special, I talk about my upbringing in Long Beach and how it feels like I'm raising my parents. It's like in the Latino community, it's like, I think, like, it's very hard to see Latino, like, you don't really see Latino parents in homes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like the family takes care of them, it's like, and that's the basis for, I'm an only child. So I'm like taking care of my parents, everything they told me not to do as a kid. As they're getting older, they're doing it. Like my dad loving to go to the mall and pointing at people.
You're like, stop it.
Stop it. They're looking right at us. No, but that's ugly shirt, mijo. Yeah. I'm like, oh, he hurt us for sure. It's like, so I dive into these things of like, my parents are now my kids. They're, it's like, how do I help them age gracefully? And Showtime allowed me this platform to kind of tell my story,
That's so
from
beautiful.
a Mexican-American trying to make it, trying to impress their parents. I talk about running the LA Marathon, trying to impress my dad. And I shouldn't have done that, I should have just ran it for my own sake. Where he's like, you paid $150 to run? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you couldn't run on the sidewalk for free?
Right.
Followed everybody?
Still
I'm like, I didn't think about
disappointing
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I dive into all these things. It's kind of like this, I'm a millennial and you have the baby boomer generation. And especially my parents being from Mexico, it's all these
layers.
Yeah, all these layers, all these things to, like you said earlier, to unpack. There's a lot of unpacking to do, but in the most comedic way. And Showtime allowed me that platform. It was my first hour special, recorded it here in LA. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's really cool.
It was well received. It dropped at the height of the pandemic. So it was,
everybody was home watching.
Everybody was home watching. It was called Stay at Home Son, which I did not name it because of the pandemic. I had already landed on the title.
Because that was your job. That's your job.
Yeah. That was it. So, but the special did great. Then didn't tour for all that year, really. And then now this year I'm back on the road, just building the new hour. I feel like I'm close to this new hour, and hopefully Showtime will give me another platform to put the hour out there.
That's really cool. So what makes your parents proud? Because I agree with you.
If I changed directions and became a lawyer.
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
really? They're like, Showtime now.
Yeah, man. No, it's so funny to explain a career in the arts to, like, an older generation. It's like for them, they wanted the coveted jobs of like lawyer, doctor, engineer, that kind of thing. So when you tell, when I tell my dad, it's like, oh yeah, I'm telling jokes. He's like, oh man.
Pues payasito, chistosito.
Payasito, ¿qué haces globos o qué chingados? Like, no, that's a clown. Like, I'm a comic. He's like, I wouldn't pay to go see you. I'm like, well, thank God. If not, we wouldn't pay the bills. But yeah, it's hard to convey that. But I think over the years, they definitely have come around. I think my mom is definitely proud. My dad too, with every project that I'm able to put out there and, working on some cool stuff right now. And I think they're coming around. I mean, I've been blessed. I think the big turnaround for my parents, they became proud when they realized that all the bills were being taken care of through my art.
So the fruit of the labor was what impressed them, but not what you did.
No. It's like Showtime special. He's like, oh, your Showtime special is probably funnier on mute. And he's like, I'm
your
like,
dad got some jokes.
He got jokes. He once told me that I'm lazy, and if I was a transformer, I'd be a futon. So it's like, God bless your heart, Dad.
Right. Shout out to him, yo.
Yeah, no, he's funny. He has a dark sense of humor. Like, you guys were talking about dogs earlier, and I recently got a dog with my girlfriend. We have this awesome, ugly, yet beautiful dog. And I overcame this phobia that I've had for so long. And my dad used to wake me up for school that way. He thought it was funny that I had a dog phobia. He used to wake me up by grabbing my leg and just going, "Roo, roo, 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 roo." And it's like, that's why I pee the bed, Dad. You know what I mean? It's like, I never woke up. My dad with his fears, like bill collectors. Like, I never did that. Like, cut me a break, man.
Yeah.
But now it's nice to like have a dog. So it's like,
what's the dog's name? What kind of dog is
Churro.
it? Churro.
Churro. We thought it was a Frenchie, and now it's all grown up, and we're like, we don't know what this is.
Shoot. That dog deceived you.
Yeah. His head is little, big body, but he's hysterical, clumsy. It's like I wouldn't have it any other way. It's like if I was a puppy.
Oh,
so
I love it.
Clumsy, big for nothing. Como decía mi dad, perfect dog.
I can't.
Churro.
I love it. That's beautiful. I want to see what Churro looks like. Hopefully,
Yeah, I got you.
I'll take a look. But we're gonna go ahead and transition into other projects. You mentioned that you're working on some other things.
Yeah.
So I know you also work with Fluffy, Mr. Iglesias, and you also are a teacher in the sitcom.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us about that role. Did you want to be a teacher at all growing up?
I think I like teacher. You know,
Okay.
It's like teacher was really cool, and if I became one, it would definitely be like a art teacher or something like that. Math teacher seems cool too, but. You know what's interesting? Like being able to be on that show was such a crazy experience because, like, I had met Gabriel before, but it was like the time I really got to like say hi and get to know him, and he's so super nice. It was such a great opportunity. I was on the show with a friend of mine. We were always like together, Chris Garcia and I. He's a writer on the show, and we were always in scenes together. So it was just such a fun. Dynamic, and here's what's crazy. So the school in Mr. Iglesias is based on Wilson High School in Long Beach.
Okay.
Gabriel graduated from there.
Oh, okay.
And so did I.
We have a Wilson over here in Lincoln Heights or Sedano
that's
area. So I was like,
the other
that
Wilson.
one?
No.
Long Beach.
Yeah, Long Beach Wilson.
Okay.
So he graduated from there, and so did I. And it was like
Similar years.
No. There's I graduated in 2004. I don't know what year he graduated in, but it's there's definitely a gap. There's no overlap there, but it was just so crazy to be a teacher, to play a teacher at the high school that I went to.
Yeah,
like,
that's
so
beautiful.
crazy.
Yeah. Did you channel any of your old teachers in your role, or?
Not really. It's just like I was playing more of like a chemistry teacher, kind of science teacher. So it was just cool, and seeing the cast. The cast was just amazing. The writers were amazing. Just everyone involved in that project were just so welcoming and so sweet. And it's just like, yeah, it was such a fun project to be a part of. And they kept bringing me back. I got my little lines in, and for that I'm super grateful. Even when I go on the road now, people, that's the one that they keep bringing out. It's like, hey, because I feel like a lot of times the parents watch this show with like their kids or teens or whatever. So it's like they get to watch, and then they're like, oh, he's coming into town, and they come out to the show. So that show and Tacos con Todo, which I did with First We Feast, were the two that really bring people out to comedy shows.
That's
now.
really cool.
Yeah,
and that was
really
actually my next question.
Really?
Because at LA Taco, we love to talk about tacos.
Hey!
What is Tacos con Todo? Share with the folks watching.
Yeah, Tacos con Todo is just it's basically a hangout with comedians, and we explore the LA taco scene. We go to different trucks, restaurants, and I get to hang out with cool comedy friends, or I get to meet some of my comedy heroes.
It sounds like we do the same thing.
Well, hey, come on through. But it was great. It was so cool to experience that. The great people over at First We Feast, they reached out to me early on, and they're like, hey, would you want to host? We got this show idea. We're looking for a host, and I'm like, sure. And I went in, it worked out, and they got a great idea and a great show going, and I was just very flattered that they reached out to me to be a part of it, and hopefully we got a third season coming up.
That's really, really cool. So what has been the best place that you've tried? We like to ask your favorite taco. Sometimes that stumps people. And also, what has been the first place that you tried? I got mad questions
I'm even taking the glasses off because that's such a tough one, man.
Yeah.
That's such a tough one, but I can tell you some of my favorites. I think ranking high up there is Evil Cooks.
Oh, Evil Cooks. Shout out to them.
Shout out to Evil Cooks, man. It's like,
what did you like? The Black Al Pastor, the Poseidon.
I mean, everything. It's like, you know how people talk about like this culinary school, like Cordon Bleu, like they got a Cordon Black, like they're like heavy metal, metaleros. I mean, it just on another level, man. Like their menu reads like a heavy metal band track list.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's. But yeah, I mean the mazapan horchata. I mean, get out of here.
Everything is out of this world, right?
Yeah,
and they're really doing something different with their pop-ups. I know they're at Smorgasburg every Sunday.
Yeah, every Sunday. And that's actually where I saw them first. I remember going there and trying them. And then later, once we were doing Tacos con Todo, I found out that there were one on the list. You know, the producer was like, "Hey, they're coming." I was blown away. I'm like, I can't.
You're
wait.
like, hell yeah.
Oh my God! It's just, you know, the green chorizo, the black al pastor. I mean, they just have a great operation going. But Tacos 1986, I love that style because it reminds me of me growing up. We would go to Tijuana every weekend.
Okay.
Growing up through like my middle school years into high school years, and that just reminds me of like being in that little pueblo of Tecate. And, you know, the guy
That's
with
where my family has their reunions, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Tecate.
Yeah.
And it's over by the church. There's like one of the, like a cathedral there, and there's a guy that would post up right in front of the church in a wooden kind of like carreta, and he le decían el güero, and it just reminded me of that taco. So 1986. Definitely
High up on the list.
Yeah, high up on the list. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, it's just.
And aside from tacos, like what meal like just makes you like melt into a puddle of excitement? My mouth is watering. I had to take a second.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing too.
Right.
Me están rugiendo las tripas. I like it all, man. Even like Mariscos Jalisco, which is a taco, but more, you know, dorado, but it's like the shrimp, you know, birria la única. It's like amazing. I like all kinds of food. Wings. I love wings too.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
wings is
Where are your favorite wings from? I just tried Bonchon, I think, in San Gabriel. Crispiest wings I have ever had in my life. I feel like my crunch like startled everybody when I bit into it.
Wait, is that the Korean fried chicken?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. Did you get
I'm
the honey garlic one?
We got both, the spicy one and the
Thank you for joining us, guys.
Right.
We're out of here. We're gonna go eat. Yes, that's the one. But I love me some good lemon pepper, barbecue for sure, and then regular buffalo sauce. I like Wingstop. They have a very consistent.
Flavor.
Flavor.
Yeah.
Hooters is cool because you can add the fried pickles in there, so you get the wings and the fried pickles.
So you like a little appetizer option?
Yeah, a little appetizer, calentar panza, como decía mi pa.
We love it. We're here for it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your girlfriend.
Yes.
We just talked about dating with Yesika a little bit too, but I was going to ask you, are you a romantic? What is that like? How has that been navigating?
I'm not really a romantic. I'm more of a goof.
Okay.
You know, I'm playing. I don't know if I'm a romantic. I don't know. I guess I'm really cheesy.
Did you captivate her by making her laugh?
Yeah, we did. Like I met her. I met her at a comedy show.
Okay, you lost your words because you got excited.
Oh no, somebody came in and I was just like, "Well, what happened? Are wings here? They got the lemon pepper
Did they get
wings."
our order?
I was about to leave. Yeah, I mean, it's like we're talking about food. I'm like, yeah, I'll go eat right now. I met my girl in DC, and she came to a show, and yeah, I guess I made her laugh, and then, you know, so that was pretty cool.
So she was a fan.
It was interesting.
I'm getting deep into it. I'm telling you, here at LA Taco, we like
We're
to know the
running out of time here, though, but I could tell you the short story. We met in DC. I was touring, doing a tour, like a press run for a documentary called Care to Laugh that I had done with ARP Studios, and they basically the premise is, you know, taking care of my parents, being a caregiver, and doing stand up. So we had like a viewing out in DC.
Okay.
And so I met a mutual friend who came to the screening and was like, "Hey, we're coming to the show. I'm bringing a friend," kind of thing. And so, you know, you go down there, and you know, I did the show, and then afterwards I go to a bar. And, you know, I'm having a drink, and then, you know, I get the text from the friend. It's like, "Hey, you know, we're going to come hang out," kind of thing. And so basically I got set up on a blind date because she came to the show, but I had not seen her.
You were like, this is just a homie coming through.
Yeah. She had seen me, but I didn't know who this person was.
Yeah.
So went to the bar, and then, you know, met her there, and we just kept in contact, and, you know, here we are.
I love it. I'm here for
And now we got a puppy named Churro.
Right, a beautiful family. Churro y la novia.
And then she has a dog that she already had called Sancho.
Oh, Churro y Sancho.
Churro y
What
Sancho.
beautiful family.
I'm
We're
telling you.
here for it. Well, thank you so much, Jesus. Yo, I can't wait to see everything that you do. I can't wait to watch your special. I saw a little bit of it, but I feel like I need to finish it. You have done a lot already, and I can't wait to see you flourish. So Thank you for being here and for making me laugh.
You're very
and
sweet. Thank you so much.
We're fans of yours here at LA Taco. So
Muchísimas
síguele.
gracias. Thank you guys.
Thank
you guys
you.
are amazing. Thank you for having me. It means the world. Cheers.
Take care. Thank you so much, folks, out here tuned in. We just finished up with Jesus Trejo. We're going to go to another commercial break, and we'll be right back.
What up, I'm Matty Matheson.
And I'm Vanny, and I'm really cold.
He's really cold. We just ate the best tacos in LA. With LA Taco! LA Taco's #1, baby. World peace. Let's go.
¿Cuánto puede empezar?
Slanging burritos once upon a time, man. That's what I did. Taco, enchilada, torta, burrito, pozole. To lava al pastor. Some places just don't get it quite right. Esta ranchera, papas y frijoles, chicharrón.
We're foodies, can you tell?
La flor de calabaza. Quesadilla. I like a good menudo de asada. Birria. Welcome to the valley, man. Welcome
I know.
to the valley. The great 1-8, man.
Exactly.
What up, folks? We are back from break to do an amazing segment with one of our very own, Cesar Hernandez, aka Fuku Foods on Instagram. We're super excited to talk a little bit about what he's got going on for Birria Week. And I'm also joined by my tío Memo over here. Just kidding.
Laura, you better relax with
It's
that. Right?
Memo, never Memo. Okay, Laura,
Thank
never
you.
Laura. Memo, never Memo. But we're super excited to be joined by our homie Cesar Hernandez, Fuku Foods.
Cesar, not
What up?
Caesar.
Who's anonymous. Cesar, you are out
Yeah.
here rocking the glasses. And are those Ray-Bans? What's up?
Nah.
Nah?
The Chafa Ray-Bans. You know what it is.
From Santee Alley?
That's the
Something like
Where
that.
he's
I buy
super
direct,
liquor
I
market
think.
special right
You know,
there.
$20 shades. You know
I
what it is.
love it. So before we get into deeper into your transition, tell us about why you're anonymous, fool.
I don't know. I just felt like it, I think.
You just felt like
I got hired.
Porque está feo, that's why.
I got hired as the associate restaurant critic for SF Chronicle, so I'm not supposed to be showing my face.
You better work. So this fool is my fellow Southeast LA homie, repping Linwood all the way. And we're going to get into talking about what you just wrote for LA Taco. Me va a dar hambre otra vez, but I want you to break down, before we talk about your transition, right, and leaving LA to the Bay. What did you just write? Memo, what's up?
Yeah, so we got Birria Week. And it's, it's like poetic. Cesar has been our biggest contributor, our listicle, legend over at LA Taco. Mm-hmm. I think if there's anybody that's had more tacos than me, for sure is Cesar. And his big send-off has been this big project this week, Birria Week, and he's been holding it down. We've got Birria de Res, right? He's got his recommendations. You got Birria de Chivo. And we've even got a list where, people don't fight about it, right? It's all
And then we
love
got
with
two
birria.
more coming up.
You got two more coming up. Ooh, or maybe we'll get into that a little bit.
So are you birria'd out or what's up?
I had birria yesterday, actually.
Yes. So talk to us
You know-
about this list. You are the listicle king also for LA Taco, always breaking it down with, I know one of my favorites recently was also the mango and the sticky rice, but
Right.
today is birria. Talk to us
I
about
gotta-
that.
I gotta say that I don't like the word listicle, like straight up. We'll start there, but it's fine. It's cool.
We'll change it up. You're the list food king.
Yeah, list food. I like list food. List food works, I guess.
List
But
food.
I've written a bunch of shit for LA Taco, not just lists. But recently, I've been focused on like exploring different parts of LA through lists, especially because like I've been with Taco since 2018, and there's been like a big hole in our coverage for a lot of stuff. And for Birria Week specifically, I wrote Tacos de Birria de Res in 2018, like right when like I think the birria boom had like solidified. And I didn't really know the Chivo scene as well as I do now. And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to highlight. So originally I was just gonna update the taco list, but I pitched it as like, hey, we should just do like a whole big shit. Like let's do let's do tacos, let's do platos, let's do let's do bowls or in consomme and caldo. And then I wanted to do one, which I think is the one I had the most fun with. It's like kind of like the wild cards, like the weird shit, like the like the birria ramen or like the birria burgers.
The
or
one
like
where they crack
birria
the egg on
rolls.
top for breakfast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Birria
in some
rolls.
ways, like the birria list, I think was like one of the first projects for LA Taco where like I was like, oh, we're on to something that like other people aren't. And that was big thanks to like Eric Galindo, who had the foresight to like even care that like people would be interested in like region specific kind of tacos. Like before that I did tacos al vapor list in Southeast LA where I'm from, and you know, it was cool to see that, but like this is like kind of a return to like where I feel like I started and like be able to go deeper. So, you know, it's been fun. It's been fun to do that. So like I did the whole thing. Like I came up with the whole thing.
Talk to us where you went deep, yo, because I want to know about these wild cards. I want to know about what the best one you tried was. If you do want to shout one out, I know Memo has some thoughts. I will start off by saying that I am not Team Chivo, and I don't know where the fuck or where I lost. I know. When I have a taco de chivo, and maybe I just haven't had a really good one yet, but when I have a taco de chivo, I feel like I'm biting the actual goat on the yard at my tío's rancho. Like, it just tastes so gamey to me. Is it? The gaminess is just like, did I want to bite into a goat's body today? Not sure. But I fuck with birria de res heavy. What's your favorite? And tell us about how deep you went.
I'm gonna be straight up. Like, I think they're both good. You know, like my mom's from Jalisco, which is like where they're most passionate about it, we can say.
Yeah.
And honestly, since I started this and like even now, I don't give a shit. Like, I think they're both good. You know, like I respect the legacy behind Chivo and the tradition, but I also like, you know, food changes. Like, food is constantly evolving based on what's available or like based on taste, and like even the fact that like birria has entered LA and like it's kind of a gateway to that style of food for a lot of people is fascinating. You know, like there is the business side of it and like the oversaturation of it, which, you know, like of course some people are doing it to kind of appeal to the demand that everybody wants, which is just a guiso, and it's fascinating. Like I don't discount either. Yeah. Which is one of the things that I really wanted to highlight with the Birria Week, to like be able to explore it all, you know?
Yeah, I feel you. I'm here for that. When you talk about the oversaturation too, I think about the fact that I just had, what a time to be alive, because I just had a quesabirria, which was false advertisement at Disney California Adventure.
What? The birria in Disneyland now?
Yes. Someone told me that at Cucamonga Cocina, there'd be birria, and where there's birria, there's Laura, and I'm a Disneyland bitch. The corporation sucks ass, but I find joy in getting on all those rides and eating all the food and the churros.
How was the birria?
Okay. Yo, so it was labeled as quesabirria on the menu. So I'm expecting like a quesabirria like Cocina Los Ve, or, you know, these places in the hood that give you the big ass tortilla, the cheesiness, mad birria. This was two little quesatacos. So clearly Disney went with the wrong consultants, because they could have hired your girl and I could have, you know, broken it down, or even hired you, right?
But it's wild. Like, imagine that 3 years ago.
Yeah, I can't. And I know that Javier, our editor at LA Taco, also mentioned that they had birria over at Universal Studios too, and that it was subpar. Maybe it was the margarita talking when I said it was a 7 for Disney, right? Who knows? I gotta go back, but I just want to mention that it definitely is everywhere. And I feel like I've heard people say that it's the French dips of ours, right? Like that need to dip the taco into the consomme, and like that juiciness like really appeals to all kinds of people. So I can see why Disney brought it on, but I'm just like, wait, Disney had birria? But it was a bop for the day, I'm not gonna lie.
You know, talking about the evolution of birria, I mean, like the whole taco dunk into the consomme. I feel like that's more of an LA thing, that kind of the Instagram influencers, the foodies, it kind of made that help popularize the birria game here in LA. You know, because that's part of the evolution, and that's kind of unique to LA. Yeah. I mean, growing up, I always had birria like quinceañeras, you know, and it was always a plate, you know, te traían las tortillas, and you ate it that way. But this whole like style of tacos, like the TJ style taco, where like it's stained and it gets dunked. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of copycats now, and somebody said it really well on a comment somewhere. They were like, man, people over here making beef tinga, passing it off as birria.
Ooh, not beef tinga.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Right?
I totally see that. I mean, without the chipotle, but
exactly.
You know, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I mean, yeah, like once it gets to this point where like it's highly reproduced, like of course, you know, you start to lose quality, because it's not the same care that goes into it, which is why I think some of the Chivo like folks, like the people who make birria de Chivo, are so passionate about it, and I can respect that, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like in cases of oversaturation, you have folks who do something interesting, like you know, think of it as like post birria. I think someone like Birria para la Cruda is like doing something really interesting, you know, like they're doing the what you expect from the trend, which is beef, but they put like extra care into like the adobo, and like you can really taste it, you know. And like it's the same with smash burgers, same with hot chicken. Like there are people who are doing interesting things like hangaburs for smash burgers or hamburgers, nice, or even like someone like Ronnie's or like R.I.P. What was the guy who used to do the nopal?
I'm not sure.
In Anaheim, the hot chicken.
Oh, you're talking about Rojos.
Right.
Rojos hot chicken.
Like people
yeah.
like that. You get folks who like see what the market is and add their own spin. And you know, that's what the wild card was. Like people like Walking Spanish, like they're doing a birria pupusa, or like Olmeca is doing like birria tamales, which is kind of a natural fit, I think. Like even Goat Mafia is doing like birria tamales de chivo. So like people are experimenting.
Even the birria de lengua was a trip to me. Don Cuco's,
right?
Tacos Don Cuco's.
Yeah.
Folks are really out here, really like making it something more than when we know it to be. So I love that. Evolving it. Yeah. What was your favorite thing on the list? And also for your girl, what place that chivo should I try next? Because it's been a minute. I don't like lamb or chivo or any animal that I tried llama when I was in Argentina once, and I said it tastes like I'm biting into the llama. So like what chivo do you recommend? What was one of the things that you wrote about? I'm sure everything was amazing because you wrote about it. But what's something that stood the fuck out? Like, damn, this bite transported me back to an experience that just, you know, I think I said it last week, made your eyes roll back, you know, had that experience.
Yeah. So today I think the caldos and platos is supposed to drop.
Okay.
And I think the one from Don Boni in Boyle Heights is really nice because it's like really saucy, smoky, and like thick. The one from Birreria Jalisco, which I think they're connected in some way in Linwood. Yeah. They had like this big chamorro, and that was cool. I had that with Gab. Shout out Gab.
They used to be together and they split up years ago. I know all the cheese.
Ooh,
I know
there's deeper. There's tea.
Yeah,
behind the birria. There's consommé.
So like those two are really nice. And then like I tried like this spot. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
Oh, you can. Yeah.
The name slips my mind, but it's on Maple. I think it's called like Birreria Baldomero, something like that. But they have really good birria, and it feels like a reconverted like church. And like, you know, they just sell bowls of birria, or like bowls with like, plates with like rice and beans and shit. It's like, it feels homey, and it feels like, well, one of the things I wanted to highlight too with like the difference, at least in the 3 years, was that, you know, birria evolved from like a weekend thing to like an everyday thing. Like you can get it any time of the day now, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah. And even when you talk about the vibe of the space, right, that has so much to do with like the appeal of folks visiting. Like I feel like Birreria Don Boni, it has that appeal too, like the location. It feels like you're going to your tia's house, and that also makes it taste a little more special to me too when I'm going to the place and it feels good. So I'm gonna have to check that place out if it feels like a church. I also feel like churches always throw down. There's places that sell pupusas that get the fuck down with the food they're grubbing, and they're always outside of churches for some reason.
Have you had
LA and Lincoln Heights?
Have you had a pupusa de birria yet?
No, but I need to try.
Those are out there.
Talk
about evolving. Yeah, man. There's pupusa birrias now, or birria pupusa.
We love it.
Yeah, Walking Spanish. They're on the wild card list for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta commend you on this list, man. I love the fact that it's like the birria multiverse here. You know, like talking about comics and shit. Most people nowadays will think of birria and they'll think of the orange stained tortilla that's crispy with the queso taco dunk, right? But if you look at Cesar's list right here, you really are showing the diversity in birria, not just from the OG ones to the everything that it's evolved into, but in all the different forms that you can see it. It's absolutely incredible. I think it comes to show. I've seen like food critics, or not food critics, like foodies on Instagram. They'll go and they'll try like Birreria Don Boni and be like, "Oh, it's too tomatoey." You know, it's like you don't understand that's a different style.
The origins.
The origins.
Right?
There's different appeals for
exactly. And a lot of these foodies in LA, when they're always comparing it to like Teddy's or to like La Única, which are like the more popular ones, the first ones to kind of pioneer this. No fault to them, but people need to know that there's a big diversity in birria, and if they check out all of Cesar's lists, you can see that, and I recommend everybody check this out.
Yeah, and now I want to just take it to Cesar. you are transitioning. So these talents and all these amazing pieces that you've written for Taco and for all the other spaces that you've supported or been with, you were taking that somewhere else. Where are you going, homie? Like, and I'm gonna cry. We almost cried last week mentioning your departure. But talk to us about that as we close out.
Can't even see your face anymore because you're leaving us.
Right.
God damn, man.
Right. So first I want to say shout out Hadley, who had a piece in the LA Times called The Virgaverse, which I still think is one of the best names for like a Virga anything.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm going to SF, or I'm going to the Bay Area. They really wanted me to, you know, focus on the East Bay and like South Bay and like kind of find some spots in that area. Like, you know, it's been covered by the current critic, Soleil, and she's someone that I'll be Soleil host. She's someone I'll be working with.
Yeah,
pretty
she's a
closely,
great writer. I followed her for a while. You're very lucky to work with her, man. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I'm like super excited to get to work with her. She's like I really admire her writing, and I'm excited to be able to learn, but you know, also find like some stuff, like find some interesting stories. Like, I think that's what Taco was about for me, is like I get to tell stories about LA, and that was such a privilege, you know, because I really care about where I'm from, and like I really care about these communities that I've always wanted to center and like write it through my experience, because that was my existence and that's what I know. So that's what I'm hoping to do in terms of like how I view a place where I'm going, you know, like going to the East Bay and going to the South Bay.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting to like be able to do that. And, you know, like this job is like difficult because, you know, like you do it for the passion, you do it because you care about it. You don't, it's not like there's not always money involved, but you know, you do it because like you think that these stories matter.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you wrote all the pieces you did so beautifully. And like Memo and I have mentioned before, if it wasn't for you being in the spaces that you were when I was hanging around, I wouldn't have even gotten involved with LA Taco. So I just want to give you a huge thanks for doing that for me and for explaining to me what a pitch even was, because that shit's so funny to me. Like, I had no idea. I wish I could find what I sent to Cesar to like look over. It's embarrassing to think about. But we just want to send you off with like mad love. The LA Taco team loves you, me included. I mean, like you said, you paved the way for me, you know, Southeast LA, East LA homies. Like, it's so beautiful to see you move on to do this opportunity, and I can't wait to see all the beautiful things you find and the ways that you're gonna story tell for folks in the Bay. Like I said it before, I feel like they're getting a real one, and I feel like we're just lending you, right? So hopefully you can come back and continue to contribute to the places in LA.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for the very kind word.
We were talking last week about how like you're an inspiration for us. You motivate us. You make us believe that we can all do great things, man. And we're really happy to see you grow. Like she said, like, you know, you were like the first for both of us. I think you were the first LA Taco fool that we met, and to both of us, you were the first one to like tell us, hey, you should pitch, right? You should write. And, you know, I think both of us were like, what? Nah, me?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now look at us.
Now look at us.
him.
Yeah, now look at him. So Cesar, you're paving the way, man. I congratulate you from the bottom of my heart. I'm really proud of you. I'm glad to call you my friend and to be one of the few people that really knows what your face looks like. So.
Right. We wish you luck, yo.
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you. And, you know, like, I do encourage people to do that. You know, like, I think that's one of the things that Galindo taught me is, like, whenever you can help anybody, especially in this space where, like, you know, historically we aren't involved as much. Like, Latinos or people of color or people from these communities, we aren't the ones writing these stories. So I encourage you that if you have a story, reach out to any of us. Reach out to, you know, like a lot of us are very helpful, and like just reach out and say, hey, can you look over? Like, hey, can you tell me something, like how to refine this idea? And that's how you get better. You just try it, and it'll be hard, but it's also fun. You also get to find out about a place. Yeah. So thank you guys for the kind words, and I encourage anybody to do it. Especially at Taco.
Thank you so much. We wish you well, and we can't wait to read all the dope shit you put out.
I'm gonna have to sign up for the Chronicle now, man. It's another subscription I'm gonna have to do.
1,000%. We all gotta be supporting, sending all the comments.
Yeah. I'll slide you a code.
Yeah,
we'll see what's up.
That's the boy. Hook it up.
And then you go share that with all of us.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. Thanks so much, Cesar. Take care. We'll catch up with you later. Thanks so much for all the folks here. We're gonna go ahead and transition to another break, but we'll be right back with Lex.
I love LA Taco.
Ride.
The science behind the blue corner, you really gotta dial it in.
We're gonna tell you stories about food, about culture, politics, film, music.
I love LA Taco. I love LA Taco.
I love LA Taco.
I love LA Taco.
What's your marketing skills right there?
Something catchy, something different.
2 pounds of love, cut it in half.
What happened to the truck?
We just returned it. I wanted to burn it and break it down, but I'd have to purchase it. Yeah, that's it.
Subscribe to LA Taco. I want you to subscribe to LA Taco.
Become a member of LA Taco.
LA Taco fam, we're happy you're still here with us watching and tuned in. If you watched earlier, we had the dopest Yesika Salgado and Jesus Trejo on the show as our guests. They were so dope. Wow, I'm hungrier and my belly just feels happy. Or my heart feels happy. Look at me. My belly's gonna feel happy after this. But now I am joined with LA Taco's very own investigative reporter, the baddest in the business, Lexis-Olivier Ray, who's here to talk to us about some projects he's working on. What's up, Lex? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me again.
Of course. We love having you here to just talk about how we can hold people accountable that need to be held accountable. So, I'm hearing through the grapevine that you are working on a project with someone who's a cop watcher in the community who supports in holding the police in Los Angeles accountable. What's this project about?
Correct. I'm working on a short documentary with maybe the best known cop watcher in the game, William G. He goes by Film the Police LA on social media. He's known for, watching police stops and filing hundreds of complaints against law enforcement. And for the past month or so, I've been shadowing him while he does his thing.
Yo, that's beautiful. And for us here at LA Taco, you are the police watcher too, right? Or just the community watcher in general, making sure that folks are doing what they need to be doing to supporting community in Los Angeles.
I try my best.
So what's that experience like following him around, William G? I know that he's also been arrested, and there's a lot of things that have happened in his life recently. What are you learning through seeing what he does?
Yeah, I would say it's been an eye-opening experience. I actually started working on this after he was arrested, the most recent time that he was arrested. It was during a stop that he was documenting. A homeless man, police were called because there was a homeless man with a knife, and the person that was being detained turned around and accused William G. of making threats. And the police took him into custody, arrested him, held him on $50,000 bail. So after that, I reached out to him about shadowing him while he's out watching cops. And like I mentioned earlier, it's been a really eye-opening experience to see what policing looks like from the community standpoint, and what goes on the streets on a daily basis or nightly basis.
Definitely. I know we've talked before about how a lot of folks become targets. Like, we're making sure that we're taking care of you when it comes to the work that you're doing and holding folks accountable. What is that like for him? Like, is there anything that he has set up for himself for safety?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to see the way that he works. I mean, he's actually works in finance full-time by day, but at night, he watches cops, and he almost treats it as if it's like a full-time job. He's that serious about it, and not in the sense that he's making money or anything like that, but you know, he's very organized with his time. He has other people that help him. He has people that drive. So it's a really well thought out operation.
That's awesome. What's the ultimate goal with this documentary?
Goal with the documentary, I mean, I'm still kind of figuring out as I'm going along, but I tried to approach this from like a fly on the wall standpoint. So, you know, I'm not really directing anything. I'm just there in the car with him when he's driving around, or, you know, following him closely when he's documenting cops. But I really wanted to, you know, embrace that and just kind of remain a fly on the wall. You know, we're shooting at night typically, early hours of the morning. So I wanted to really embrace kind of like the darkness of it all visually. And yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I'm curious. A lot of the folks who document the police talk a lot about the importance of the body cam footage. So what's the process when you're trying to get that released for the public to see, right? We see that that is integral when it comes to investigations with the police and all of that, right? So what is that process to request it? Can any person request when that's done? I've gotten stopped for some tickets when I'm supposedly on my phone, and I wish I could see how I treated, or, you know, like I want to see that. What is that process like?
Yeah, it's pretty complicated. So with William's situation, he has been demanding that the LAPD release the body cam footage of his arrest. And recently, actually last week, some people from the media have also been pushing for that footage to be released for transparency purposes. But it's complicated. There's only a certain reasons why the LAPD or a law enforcement agency is legally required to release that footage. One example is if there's a serious use of force and it results in you know, a critical injury, then they're required to. But in many cases, they aren't required to. And if something is considered to be an investigative file, then it's typically exempt from being released. So it's tricky.
And that's wild, right? Because a lot of the abuse that comes from police sometimes happens at like stops that don't involve necessarily abuse, right? I mean, physical violence, I guess, but still stopping people for the wrong reasons, or...
There's certainly a gray area, I'd say. And also, I mean, it's in many cases up to the police or law enforcement to, you know, make these determinations. So there might be a case where somebody is injured, but maybe not to the level
at which they deem they need to release it. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Or, you know, maybe it doesn't surface that there is an injury.
Yeah. So we know that you have some footage that you shared with us. I'd like to go ahead and roll that. And if you could walk us through what's happening in this footage and from the nights you were with William.
Yeah, sure. So you're watching a clip right now. This is William in a car. He's in the passenger seat. He typically has someone else drive the car while he directs. And we're at Cahuenga in Hollywood, a major intersection in Hollywood. It's either a Friday or Saturday night, so a busy evening. And this is a stop that we came across. Some young kids were reportedly pulled over because some sort of a vehicle code violation, you know, a busted headlight or a mirror or something like that. They were taken out of the cars, put in handcuffs against the wall, and as you can see, an officer is going through their trunk. At this moment, two LAPD officers are actually getting called to a different scene at this moment, and they elect to leave this scene. But this is pretty typical of, you know, a stop in Hollywood. Someone gets pulled over for a minor vehicle infraction or something like that, something, you know, relatively insignificant. People are pulled out of, you know, cars, handcuffs, and then as you can see here towards the end of the video, people are being taken out of handcuffs. I believe that at the end of the day, the driver didn't have a valid driver's license, so they weren't able to take the car. But other than that, everyone was let go, and these two individuals that you see now, they're not being charged with anything. So
yeah, just the humiliation that happens when you're stopped for something like a headlight, right? It's so disrespectful.
Yeah, and they honestly handled it well. I mean, they handled it really well, especially considering their age. but it's certainly embarrassing and very time consuming, I would say.
It sucks that we have to, and I say we because all of us can be targets of the police at one point or another, right? But we have to keep our cool, or else we know what can happen. What's this next one?
So this is also in Hollywood, and William just arrived to the scene. He's approaching another stop, and this really highlights some of the legal reasons why people can be put in handcuffs. And you can see a gentleman, he was just released. But from my understanding, both of these individuals were on parole. So if you're on parole, there's certain stipulations that actually allow for law enforcement to sometimes search you or detain you for periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
So these gentlemen, afterwards, William was able to catch up with them, and they explained that, they've lived in this neighborhood a long time, and this is somewhat common for them to be put in handcuffs and released shortly after.
Wow. That's a lot. I know that you've experienced some being arrested or maybe just handcuffed at certain demonstrations and all of that. Is there footage that William or you are accepting from other folks who watch the police? Or what is that like? Are you going to be sharing your experiences as well?
Yeah, I've fortunately never been put in handcuffs, okay. But
I'm making shit up over here. My bad.
No, I've been detained though. And
yes, yeah.
So wasn't put in handcuffs, but unable to leave
an
area for hours, so not that much different. But there is actually a couple other cop watchers that work with William and assist him, like I mentioned. And then there's also other people. There's what people call, they describe themselves as auditors, I guess.
Okay.
And those are people like on YouTube and Citizen that are cop watching for different reasons. But there definitely is like a community of people that are doing this and holding law enforcement accountable in various ways.
That's awesome. And we do have a final clip to roll. What's going on here?
In this final clip, you see a LAPD officer at the beginning shine a flashlight directly into another cop watcher's camera phone, and then you see him turn to me. He does the same thing to me. Right before he flashes the light, he says, "You want some of this too?" And this is really just an example of, some of the hurdles I've experienced while filming this documentary and producing it. There's been a number of occasions when LAPD officers have used their flashlights and lights to obstruct my filming. And, honestly, it's just really frustrating and disappointing. But like you mentioned, I've had issues in the past with law enforcement and just have to roll with the punches.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I thank you so much. And I know LA Taco really appreciates the work you put into making sure that folks are doing right by, or at least exposing the fucked up behavior that happens by LAPD, the Sheriff's Department, all the folks that y'all hold accountable. I'm really excited for this documentary to come out. So thanks for giving us a little bit of a tidbit of what it's going to be like. And yeah, we love the work that you do. And we're excited to keep bringing you on each week to tell us a little bit about the projects that you're working on. So that is it, folks. We are closing out the second episode of LA Taco Live with Laura. We had the most amazing guests who do work in Los Angeles and who do great work for the LA Taco team. Remember to tune in not next week actually. Next week is Thanksgiving, El Día del Pavo, El Día del Recalentado, whatever the fuck you do, however the hell you celebrate. We hope you enjoy the day off or the holiday if you celebrate. And we're going to be back to you on December 2nd with some really exciting guests. I'll give you a little teaser. Another actress on Gentefied, which is on Netflix, streaming its second season. So we're super excited to have some guests coming on with us on December 2nd. Stay tuned, and we'll see you on then.